Alright, so for today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the Vampliers VT-003-85 crosscut screw extraction pliers. Now, this is, at the time of filming this video, a relatively new product from Vamplier. I believe Engineer also has a version that has the green handles. If you're not familiar with Engineer or Vampliers, Vampliers are just a rebrand of the Engineer pliers, so they're made by the same company. They're just two different color handles is really all it is. And the prices are a little bit different. So to start off the video here, like most Vampliers, these have the red handle, but instead of that soft rubber style handle, this is more of a dipped grip handle, which has a bit of a texture on it. So if you were using these in an oily or a greasy environment, it's not going to want to slip out of your hand as easy as just a standard pair of dipped pliers. And now we're going to come up to the business end of the tool. This does feature a crimper. So if you had to crimp a ferrule, crimp a terminal, or whatever you needed to use that crimper for, you can use that. And then you can see you have the Vamplier's name laser etched onto the surface of the plier. You have your model number, and then unsurprisingly, these are made in Taiwan. Vamplier did release another pair of pliers that I believe was also made in Taiwan. It was more of like a cheaper pair of the screw extraction pliers that was also made, that was not made in Japan. So I'm not really surprised that these weren't made in Japan, even though they do look awfully similar to the marbles. And now coming up to the business end, you can see your cutting edge right here. And then you get to the nose of the plier. And it is almost like a pair of linesman pliers, but the only thing that is different is this does have the screw extraction there on both sides, as you can see right there. So you do have a nice cross hatch pattern there on the nose of the plier. So if you did need to twist a couple wires together, or whatever you needed to grip onto something, you could use that. You just got to be mindful that instead of having a full crosshatch, you only have it's still kind of a full crosshatch, but you are missing that one slot there for your screw extraction. And then when you close the plier, you can see your screw extraction point right there as well. So that is pretty much it for the detail on these guys. Now, I will say, when I got these out of the packaging, they were a little bit stiff, and I have kind of loosened them up a little bit, but they're definitely not as stiff or not as loose as some of the other crosscut pliers or some of the other pliers that I have taken a look here on the channel. So if you are unfamiliar with a pair of crosscut pliers, they're pretty much like a cable cutter is how they act, except for they have a they have the nose there on the pliers, so that allows you to grip and or twist wire. So these being more of that scissor cut instead of just, you know, that pinching cut that you get on a pair of linemen's or a pair of side cutters. These you're not going to be able to cut screws with. So this is only going to be able to cut through copper and your softer wires like your aluminum wire. So that is what they are rated to go for. So we'll go ahead and bring out some wire right here. Now, the one cool thing that I like to use these specific pair of crosscut pliers for, not the marbles, but crosscut pliers in general, is you can use them to strip wire. And it's fairly simple. You just got to rotate the wire on those cutting knives, and you can easily strip it. Let me see if I can get that in frame this time. But you just go like that, and then you just pull off that insulation without any issue. And then if you needed to, you could use that those teeth on there and give your wires a nice twist if you needed to do that. And then the cutting knives on here are fairly sharp. They have no issue cutting through just this 12 gauge conductor that I have here. I can bring in a couple more of them. So this is just going to be 3 12 gauge stranded wires. We'll go ahead and chop through those. I have no issue cutting through those guys. So you definitely can cut through multiple conductors with this. That was stranded wire. Now we're going to bring in some Romex wire and see if we can cut through this without any issue. And you definitely are able to cut through this Romex wire without any issue. And this plier does come in a 8-inch variation. So with that 8-inch long, with those longer handles, you are able to get better leverage when you're cutting through those thicker conductors, especially this 12-2. And I'm sure if you were working with 10-2 Romex wire, you probably would have just as easy of a time cutting through it as you would with the other wires that we did cut through with these. So overall, these are definitely I would say a very affordable pair of crosscut pliers, and they are readily available if you are looking to purchase them here in the States. You're looking to get your foot in the door to try a pair of crosscut pliers. If you don't want to have to import the Marvels or the Fujiyas, this is definitely a good place to start. It's going to be interesting to see how well they hold up over time. I know some of the other Vampliers, it's not a plier you use very often. At least for me, I don't really have, stripped out screws and things like that I have to fight and deal with on a daily basis. So I don't use very many of the other pliers that I've tested here on the channel quite often. So it would be interesting to see how well the cutting knives hold up on these compared to a pair of pliers like the Marvels here. You can see that they almost look relatively, they're pretty identical. Just the Marvels have a different handle, and the Marvels are made in Japan, whereas the Vampliers / Engineers are made in Taiwan. But other than that, the design's pretty much the same. And then obviously on the Marvels, you don't have that screw extractor, you just have the full cross hatching on the plier. And those are a lot looser than the Marvels. So it'll be interesting to see over time if you use these quite frequently. If they do decide to loosen up or not. I did try oiling up when I first got these, and they are still a little bit stiff, as you can see. The handle definitely doesn't want to wiggle open, so they are definitely a little bit on the stiff side, but I'm hoping to kind of get away with that and have them open up here when I continue to use them every now and then. So with that being said, that's all I have for this video. I will leave a link down in the description below if you are interested in picking yourself up a pair of these. Like I said, they're readily available. You can find them on Amazon. I'm sure you could buy them off of the Vampliers website as well. So with that being said, that's all I have for this video. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. And if you liked the video, please consider giving a thumbs up. But that's all I have for this video.